My next project is an interesting motorcycle seat. Until my cousin Eric shipped this up here for me to restore, I wasn't aware that Sears sold motorcycles and mopeds. This is a 1969. They're manufactured by a German company by the name of Puch. And very well built construction. Eric has stripped this down and had the frame painted, so I'm ready to get into it and rebuild it. I'm going to start by cutting new foam and rebuilding this rubber foundation that goes over the spring work. To replicate the original rubber foundation material, I'm using a product known as Herculite 80. It's a very heavy reinforced material that would be used for truck tarps. I'll cut off this strip and bond the two together. I'll fold it in half and make a double thickness. I'll lay this foundation material over an anvil, a piece of cardboard, and punch these holes. I'll start this by marking out a center reference here. Flatten it out. Looks like 11.5 would be 5 3/4. Square that up on my paper. Fold this paper in half on my center line. I'm going to set this frame on here and somewhat true up this profile a little cleaner. There's a 1-inch tapered rise here on the back, so to start I'm just going to rough this block out. Alright, I'll set this aside a few minutes and let the glue cure up a little bit. All right, with these flanges glued to the bottom side of the foam, this cord's ready for assembly. Okay, I'll spray some 3M contact cement on here. Product number 8090. Basically it's spray contact cement. Set this frame down over the foam core and we'll be ready to put the cover on. Alright, I'll start making the new cover by cutting apart these seams. Get it laid out flat for a pattern. Because I need to pin this down to get it all flattened out, I'm going to pattern this on a remnant of vinyl. It allows me to poke these pins through and not worry about any holes showing up. Work off of centers. The hemline on my beaded edge here is a little bit wider than how this one's been trimmed down. So when I lay this out, I'm going to add about 1/8 of an inch for that allowance. Crowd this cut out just a little bit. I'm going to keep it straight. Fold this over and mirror the other side. To replace the print on the back of the seat, I called on my son to use a Cricut printer. It cuts these neat little decals. Carefully tear this away. Looks like fits right in here. The surface clean. I'm going to soften this just a bit with some heat. Just warm it up a little bit, and I'll take this plastic key and burnish this all down good. I'll lay this in here to make my pinstripe. Take my regulator and get in underneath the lettering. Need to be careful with the E and the A so I don't lift that centerpiece. All right, I'll mask this off and spray the dye. These vinyl coatings work best with really light mistings. They suggest recoating every 10 minutes. Sometimes the edges have a tendency to lift a little bit, so between coats it's a good idea to give that another little burnishing. When working with vinyl, you'll find that there's a greater deal of stretch across the bolt and much more stable with the roll. Laying out these side panels, I want flexibility in the curve and I want the added strength for the top to bottom pull. I lost track of how many coats I actually shot on this, but I'm going to say at least 9. I set it aside to dry while I was cutting the other parts. There we go. I'll tell you, using ballpoint ink is a really bad idea working with vinyl. Even marking on the back side, it's known to bleed completely through to the front. Lighter colors, white for example. In this case, it's not going to be a problem. I'll drop a skin of this product called Cushion Ease or Slip Ease. The foam is rather abrasive and it bites into the cover, and this lets things slip into place a lot easier. Okay, I think this is going to pull down just fine. I've pulled this cover over and got it roughly in place. Put a couple of these pins in there to hold it while I work with the glue. Just using standard contact cement. I'm going to glue this on both surfaces. Alright, I've put a couple coats of glue on and I'll start working with it and pull it down. Alright, that's a wrap on fitting the cover. I've got this jeweler's polish semi-chrome and it works wonderful on brightening up all kinds of metals. This looks to be an aluminum trim piece here, but it'll polish up real nice. I'll take this awl and poke out the holes for these trim bolts. It's interesting how this is mounted on here. These little pins slide into the back of the trim and then line them up as you go. Okay, there's a wrap on finishing out the trim. I'm not sure what to expect in this strap. It looks like there's some cable of some sort inside. Looks like a good way to dull my knife. Just have to cut it open and find out, I guess. Okay, that's what I thought maybe it was. Got a high spot there where that ferrule is. I better walk through. Okay, that didn't go too bad. Okay, well, let's cinch it up. Take a leather punch here and open up a hole for that bolt. Okay, well, that's a wrap on this job.